Hi, thanks for being here today. We are going to look at a case study based on Jane. Jane is a 14-year-old girl. She was referred by her physician who noticed at her most recent well check that her BMI has crossed into the 95th percentile for her age. Her BMI is currently 28, and this puts her in the obese category for her age. Also, based on her labs from her physician, she had a few numbers that were putting her at risk for hyperlipidemia as well as prediabetes. And in regard to these two things, her parents, she has a family history of hyperlipidemia as well as diabetes. Both of her parents are obese. Her mom is hyperlipidemic, and her dad is diabetic. She also leads a sedentary lifestyle. She has physical education 2 times a week, but when she gets home from school, she's generally watching TV or hanging out with friends. So, after an interview with Jane and having her complete a 3-day food diary, it is apparent that she is eating a standard American diet. As you can see here, she's eating on average 2,888 calories a day, and the recommendation for her is 1,600 calories a day. And you can see in her food diary that she's eating a lot of convenience foods, um, a lot of convenience foods and foods that are high in fat, added sugars, sodium, and then also low in fiber. She is at risk for becoming deficient in some vitamins and minerals, and as you can see on the chart here, those include calcium, potassium, magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin E. So obviously, proper nutrition is important at all stages of life, but during adolescence, you achieve peak lean mass, fat mass, and bone mass. So it does make it especially important to get your daily recommended intake of nutrients in your diet. After reviewing the 3-day meal plan or the 3-day food diary from Jane, based on that, I made a 3-day meal plan for her. Like I said previously, she's consuming a lot of convenience foods that are highly processed, and her parents are also taking her to fast food a good bit. She eats dessert on a daily basis and also drinks soda every day. So, based on her family history and her labs and her obese status based on her BMI of 28, it's going to be really important to educate Jane on eating a diet that's nutrient dense, and equally important to educate her parents, as they will be the ones providing most of her meals. So I don't want to overwhelm Jane with making too many significant changes in her diet. I want to make sure that she can make some changes and maintain those and then build on those over time in order for her to keep those habits into the rest of her life. So as you can see in her meal plan, what I really want to do is emphasize making better food choices, having her be mindful of her food choices, and have her choosing whole foods such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains as snacks. And then when she's having her meals, to try and incorporate the My Plate recommendations. I would like for her to stop drinking soda. I have her drinking water mostly, and if she is having something besides water, it's milk which I want her to make choices for lower fat dairy products. And so that includes her milk and her cheeses if she's having those. I did leave in some convenience foods for the parents. They had said that they do a lot of fast food just for saving time. So, as you can see in the first dinner, I've included a pre-made lasagna from Stouffer's, but just trying to pair that with something a little bit healthier, like a salad, instead of something else that might contribute more fat and calories. I also made some allowances for fast food restaurants. I don't think it would be ideal to expect the family to never eat out again. So, what I want to do with Jane is just emphasize that she has a choice to pick a healthier option when she is out to eat. So here you can see I have her, if they go to McDonald's, she can choose to have a salad, and then just focus on portion control with her dressings and not having not having soda, and choosing water instead. And then allowing for some desserts, but again, making a healthier option. So instead of maybe in the past she would have chosen a McFlurry or something like that, she might choose one ice cream cone, which is going to be less calories for her. And then also she is used to having a dessert every day, so I did allow for some healthier options another day of the week where she's going to have plain yogurt, but she's going to add her own toppings to it. So like some fresh fruit or maybe some homemade granola. Okay, so Jane's parents in the interview had mentioned that they do have some issues sometimes with making their budget stretch or with their food budget stretch toward the end of the month. Sometimes they run out of money for that. So it would be recommended for them to apply for some federal assistance programs that could supplement their income. I would recommend them applying for the Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, which would give them a monthly allowance, which would just help them to further that food budget and allow them to buy some healthier options possibly. And also income-based is the National School Lunch Program as well as the School Breakfast Program. But if they qualify, Jane could possibly receive either a reduced price lunch or breakfast or free. So all of these programs would be worth applying for to see if they qualify to help them out a little bit with their food security issues. As far as physical activity goes, I kind of want to keep it along the lines of her dietary changes, where I don't want her to be overwhelmed with all of the changes that need to be made. I would recommend for her to begin with 5 days a week, 30 minutes of moderate activity, such as walking. She could just walk in her neighborhood. Might be a good activity for her to engage with her family. Just something that isn't going to cost too much money. You're not going to need too many things to buy in order to participate in that activity. Now, the CDC does recommend that adolescents participate in vigorous activities 3 days a week, perform bone strengthening activities 3 days a week, and then also perform muscle strengthening activities at least three days a week. So again, I'd just like to emphasize that I would like for her to start with something a little bit more manageable and then maybe move into performing these more vigorous activities. And I just don't want her to start off doing something difficult and it deter her from participating in physical activity later. So that completes my presentation for the case study on Jane. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great night.